Hi guys, welcome. My name is Samantha and welcome back to Books and Cats and Books and Cats and Books and Cats. Obviously you can see that I'm feeling some type of way right now. And that would be because it's Boy Aquarium season. That's right, Boy Aquariums have opened back up again. And you're hearing it right now from the queen of hockey romance, of every hockey romance that's ever been written, ever been read. Let me tell you, I love me some hockey romance. Mind you, not every hockey romance is exquisite. A lot are, and I can get onto that in a different episode. But the one that I want to talk to you about today is Chelsea Curto's DC Star series. Now, I hopped on this series because I was seeing some reviews from other people being like, oh, like Hat Trick or Face Off, okay? I'm telling you about them because it is currently at this singular moment where I am filming. There are 4 books in the series, and the next one comes out in about a week and a half. Now, by the time this airs, it will probably have already come out. It is called Sin Bin, and I want to get ahead of that game because after Sin Bin comes out, there's 2 more books in the series. So there's 4 out right now, and I'm going to talk about all of them. And then the next one comes out in a week and a half. That is the 5th one. It's called Sin Bin. And then the next 2 after that are untitled still, but I'll get to those in a second as well because there's Easter eggs throughout the whole series. Anyway, so DC Star series by Chelsea Curto. Now, this is light, it is fluffy, it's got elements of depth and dark, but it's nothing, I'm so sorry to my dark romance girlies, it's not dark, it is angsty. Boy, is it angsty. I should probably get to the point of what it is that I'm trying to say. Now, I wrote down some handy-dandy little note cards this time because we know I like to gab, I like to babble, I like to chit-chat, yip-yap.
Giant steak, birthday cake, large rice, chocolate shake.
But I really want to get you guys the meat of this series. Okay, because genuinely I do think that everybody needs to read this. If you read football romance, hop on this bandwagon. If you read anything with golden retriever, black cat type tropes, this is it. If you are like workplace romance, hop on this. And then something else. That was very dirty. I don't know if we're allowed to say that. Woo-hoo-hoo. Anyway, so the thing that I like about this series is it's likable, it's relatable, it's not cheesy. I've read series before with an author whose name sounds like letter Schmilly, and I find it so cheesy. I find there to be no depth. I find it to just be like, hey, I wrote some sex scenes and like vague literate sentences and I put it all together and then I said that they were in a hockey environment and now it's a hockey romance. And I don't like that those are popular because I feel like it doesn't give respect to the art. Now this does. These are relatable. They are honest. I love this series because there's funny, quirky bits, you know, like if you're reading a standalone series, which this is, oftentimes some of the second and third and fourth books in the series become more of like a reunion for the other characters and the other couples that you've already met so far than it does actually just being like a world that you're being immersed in. Or rewind that. That was not the correct word. Then it becomes a world that you've become immersed in. I really like the way that Helena Hunting does this. I really like the way that Carla Sorensen does this. She takes these side characters and she puts them in scenarios with the main characters of that plot. And we love those characters. So it makes us want another book for them. And it makes us want to reread those previous books. But it doesn't take over the plot. And this series does that so well. I am salivating for some of these side characters' books. So the books that we've got going on so far now, oh, and mind I tell you, the smut, chef's kiss, I can't wait for the last 3 books because let me tell you, I already know some of their kinks and I'm freaking ready, okay? Now, I'm going to tell you about the books that we've got so far in the series. Now, oh, mind you, also, there's no third act breakup. So the thing about this series is that it is relatable, it is likable, the smut is chef's kiss, and There's no third act breakup in any of these books, which I love, because it's them finding a workaround for their conflicts without separating. It's oh, how do we come together? Or we're separate the entire book. How do we find that last hole to leap over? Or how do we find that last barrier broken? Or like maybe it ends up with us separated but still together at the same time. Okay, I feel very strongly about 2 of these books out of the 4 that are released so far. There is Face Off, Power Play, Slapshot, and Hat Trick, okay? All of which are hockey terms. I don't know what any of them mean except for Face Off or Hat Trick. No, I know what Power Play means. Sports. Face Off is either second place for me or it's tied for first. My second favorite is Hat Trick. So Face Off and Hat Trick are my 2 favorites out of the 4 so far. Okay, but that isn't to say that the other ones aren't also Chef's Kiss. Okay, Face Off is the first one. I literally, on my index card, I wrote love, all caps, and an arrow to Face Off because I love this one. And this is an incredible, insane way to start the series. Okay, now it's Maverick Miller and Emmy. I don't remember her last name. So Mav and Emmy are both hockey players on the same team. Okay, we finally have a female NHL player in a book. And that's not even the best part, okay? The best part is that they're both really dominant, independent people in a friends with benefits situation. So it's so good. Okay, so what had happened was she gets brought up to the NHL. She'd already been So Emmy gets brought up to the NHL, and Maverick, idiot that he is, sexy, slutty little idiot, he hits on Emmy, not realizing that she's the new person, because obviously Emmy's a nickname, okay? So he hits on her right before he goes into an office meeting where he, the coach, and Emmy sit down and discuss how Emmy's being brought onto the team. Now, he's obviously chasing after her, but he's not always very nice to her, okay? And then they end up getting into a friends with benefits situation. It's like, it is, hear me out, not a she wears his jersey situation. He wears her jersey. I love that. They have like a heroes night, like a heroes and legends, that's what it is, a heroes and legends night for the team where like everybody wears like the jersey, like yada yada that they love, or hero or whoever it is. And I know like somebody goes in like a very old like vintage like jersey for like a legend. I don't remember exactly who it is, so I don't want to like butcher the title. But anyway, Mav wears Emmy's jersey. He wears Emmy's jersey because he says she's his hero and he knows she's going to be a legend. Have my babies immediately, Maverick Miller. Have my babies immediately. I've never felt more like I'm ovulating than when I read that. It is a perfect example of feminism in romance, in a hockey romance setting. So that's what we love about hockey romance, is it's all about the masculinity in the like uber muscle hot boy nerd geek like way. Like they're so dominant. But he melts for her. Okay, all of these guys literally melt for the girls, and that's what I like about this. So, ultra feminine, like girl boss, like let's get it kind of book. He wears her jersey. It's so hot. It is so hot. Also, she's redhead. But the next book, moving on, is Power Play. And this one is Grumpy Sunshine. Now, I'm not going to delve too deep into the next 2, but I do want to give you a couple of like tropes. I just really wanted to tell you how, like Face Off. That is like the intro into the series. And it's the perfect example of exactly why you need to get into this. But Power Play is great because Power Play is about Grumpy Sunshine, and the two main characters don't change for each other outwardly, but they do. So it's another example of where he melts for her. So it is a workplace romance as well. I guess technically, like, all of these are. So the first one, we have Emmy and Mav on the same team. This one, we have the two main characters. One is a reporter for the team, does sports broadcasting, and then the other is the goalie. So we've got goalie versus and he refuses to do I was going to say auditions. I'm an actor. He refuses to do interviews, never will do them. There is one time where he steps in and does an interview for her because she's floundering, but then he's like, okay, that's a one-time thing, even after they've been in love. Like, I love that is what happens, he'll step up for her, but he's not going to change his entire personality and everything. Like, that's not real. That's why I find this to be realistic, is because yes, he takes a step forward for her, but he doesn't change his entire personality for her. Another thing I love about this one is that it's a Vegas wedding book. Now, this is a Vegas wedding turned fake dating. They drunkenly get married in Vegas, and then they end up faking that relationship and then falling in love from there. I'm not going to tell you any more about that, but let me just say this. Sexy goalie. Anyway, so we've got the next two. The next, which is the third, is Slapshot. This is great because there was an Easter egg in the first two books for this one, okay? Now, that Easter egg leads us to someone who literally moves from state to state for this book. So she goes from one state to this state, becomes a personal chef for another member of the team, which I won't say who it is. I mean, you're going to know who it is pretty soon. But so she becomes the personal chef for him. And the thing about this book, yes, it's another workplace romance, but she's a single mom and her daughter is deaf. So he learns ASL for her, but not at first. That's something that I really liked about this book, was it's a really difficult language to learn, like, especially as an adult. And he did learn it for her, but it was after he realized that all the avenues that he was working through were not fully helping him communicate with her. He falls in love with the mom, but he also falls for the daughter. You know what I mean? Platonically. He falls platonically for this daughter being in his life, and she becomes a daughter to him. Now, at first, he's like communicating on paper and through etch-a-sketches and through mannerisms and things. And that obviously isn't a full way to communicate with a child. And there's that lack of relationship still while they're building this father-daughter dynamic, even though they're not father-daughter. So I really appreciated the fact that there was a level of him being like, this isn't enough, and I'm not doing enough, and I need to try harder, because this isn't something that she needs to change about herself. It's something that I need to learn for her. So I really like that, as he realizes it's not enough and he needs to be enough for her, because she doesn't need to change anything about herself. And obviously, the mom melts for that. I just melted for that. And he melts for that. So that's book 3. That's Slapshot. Now, the fourth book, the last book that has come out as of when I have begun recording this video, is Hat Trick. When I tell you, I ate this up. Oh my God, I devoured this man in his slutty little glasses. The way I absolutely salivate for this man. This is why I say that this book and Face Off are tied in first place. If I had to choose one, I think I might choose Hat Trick to be first place and Face Off to be second place. And I say that because, and this is, it's not a spoiler because it is the synopsis of the book, but, and I won't say who, one character in the beginning of the book is fully enamored with the trainer. Okay. So she's the athletic trainer for the team. And she does a lot of rehab with them, like for injuries and such. And one of the players from the last couple of books is already enamored with her. And in the beginning of this book, we're seeing the celebration from immediately after one of the other books. This character leaves early. They do get into a car accident, but I have to talk about this. I have to talk about this because it really, really guts me. This character leaves the celebration. Okay, they leave the celebration. They're not drunk. They're not drinking. They get into an Uber or a taxi or whatever, and the driver says, "Oh, this is my last, ride of the night. I am trying to get home. I shouldn't have even have picked up this one, but my wife is pregnant with our second. I just really want to make sure I can save up as much money as possible." And they're talking about the kids, and this character slips him an extra $100 or so. Okay, he's like, "This is for you, man. Like, go home after tonight. Like, you've got family. They're waiting for you." Oh my God, I'm getting emotional. He said, "You've got people at home who are waiting for you." And right as soon as that happens, they get hit by a drunk driver. Okay, they're not drunk. They are having a wholesome freaking moment, and they get hit by a drunk driver. Now, that's how the book starts. So it's not a spoiler, and it isn't a synopsis, but we're seeing for the next couple of chapters through then, which is something that I really appreciated about this book, is that it doesn't just jump into like, and now I'm in the hospital and like blah 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 blah. You know what I mean? Like it jumps to it's this scene. It jumps to an emotional scene of everybody realizing he's in the hospital and like going and like finding out that he's going to be okay, but also not at the same time. And then it cuts to his recovery, chapter by chapter. So one chapter is like 1 week post. The next chapter is like 1 month post, 3 months post, 6 months post. This is a really difficult thing for a pro hockey player to go through, to lose your leg. I mean, especially because it wasn't even an injury on the ice. It's hard to reconcile himself with that fact, is that he's never going to have this thing that's been all encompassing in his life, since he was a kid. It's really mentally hard. And so it's hard to read. Oh my God, why am I getting emotional again, guys? I just love this series so much. It really got me in the feels. And so he's not in a good place. He is a sunshine character. You know what I mean? Like, he always has been. And suddenly he turns into the grump, which is honestly such dynamic characterization. I have to give her props. But alas, so his recovery piece by piece. And then we find out that the trainer is going to help him rehabilitate. And they fall in love through there. And I don't think I could have come up with a better way for this story to be pieced together. I genuinely, the way they take care of each other, the way it was so human, in that they're just taking things day by day, and it's not always a good day. And he snaps at her, and she is upset with him, but they forgive each other, and they take care of each other, and they talk through it. And they understand it's recovery. So I really like that. There was something that I found to be so honest about the book, is the research that Chelsea Curto did. Now, she states in a preface before the book begins that obviously, she's not a professional hockey player. She may not know like all of the details of what would go into this recovery, but she did her research. She talks about different muscle movements that help with recovery. It's like she explains the process as we're going through the book of like him lifting his limb and laying it down and lifting, and these repetitions and things. And I just felt like there was a lot of love that went into this, but it was a lot of science as well. And I don't know that I've ever read a book that went through such an extensive medical situation that was as eloquently put as this for someone who is not in that field. Okay, I have a couple of quotes now that I want to read for you guys, because these are things that I was like, there is one part that I have not stopped thinking about since I read the book, which, mind you, was like 2 months ago. Okay. Now, I've, for the last 2 months, been thinking about this one scene where she gets sick or has food poisoning. I think there's like a bug going around and she gets sick, and she is like fully ill for a couple of days, and she misses one of their rehab sessions. And so he shows up at her door and she's like, "What are you doing here?" And he's like, "It's Friday." And she goes, "No, it's Wednesday. Like, what are you doing here? Like, I can't today." And he looks at her, and the book said, like, his face softens, his eyes soften, and he just looks at her and he goes, "No, it's Friday, sweetheart." And he calls her sweetheart. And I was like, ah! Kill me dead. Kill me dead. My heart is gone. It's exploded. I'm like so in love with you, man. I'm so in love with you guys together. I'm just, where's mine? Where is mine? Okay? Just wait, because I have more. Okay, this one is funny, and it's from one of the characters, Grant, who his book is coming out. It's one of the untitled ones, but we don't have it yet. Anyway, it's so real. Women, Grant says, so complex, so brilliant. We're undeserving. Yeah, baby, you are. Yeah, you are. Or this one is from the female man character. I wish I had the balls of a mediocre white man who thinks he's hot shit. I'd be unstoppable. This one made me laugh. I highlighted this one in the book. I read it on KU. I highlighted it. Cooked. Okay, here's the last one. He carries limes for her. This isn't a quote, but he carries limes for her because he finds out that like her favorite drink is like this one thing, but she never orders it because she likes it with a lime, and nobody ever really has a lime on hand. So like half the time in the book, he just like has like a lime in his bag or like a lime in his pocket. And people were like, why the fuck do you have a lime on you? And then he like goes and makes her a drink. And that's before they start sleeping together. It's before they start sleeping together. Okay, now here is my big quote that I want to tell you guys. Because do it yourself. I know you can, but here's the thing, Lexi. I'm not going to be able to sleep. I'm not going to be able to eat. I'm not going to be able to do anything except wonder if you're okay and taken care of. Put me out of my misery and let me do it for you. For someone whose love language is acts of service and quality time and words of affirmation, I've got all of them. All of them are mine. But like acts of service is like one of them especially. Now, those are my quotes, but I have to tell you guys about these new untitled books. Also, one is titled, it's called Sin Bin. That's the one that comes out November 4th. Now, if this airs after November 4th, just know that I will have devoured it by the time you're watching this. In fact, November 4th, I'm going to read it in one sitting. So run to Barnes & Nobles, run to Kindle Unlimited. That's where I'll be reading it. And then after all the books come out, I'll probably go and buy the full set online now or in person because I love a good Barnes & Nobles trip. The next book to come out is Sin Bin. Now, I mentioned Grant. He's the one who said the quote about women, where would we be without them? Like, they're blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? Like, now, I gotta say, these males have given us a hint into what I said already is like their kinks and also who they would be as a male. Now, imagine the coach. The next book, Sin Bin, is the coach's book. And I have gotten teasers for you guys. It is coach and teammate sister. And I am like 90% sure it's Grant's sister because we mentioned Grant's sister. Grant is going to get his ass handed to him because his coach is going to date his sister, okay? It's age gap, obviously. Single dad to a teen. Get it out of our systems. And I think she's a dancer, too. Either a dancer or a figure skater. It's one of those. I'm so excited. You want to sleep with one of your teammates, or not your teammates, but one, like you're the coach and one of your team members. You sleep with her sister? And then I'm assuming keep it a secret after? Yes, please. I will eat that up. Now, the two books after that get so good too, all right? Book 6 is untitled. I don't know when it's coming out, but hopefully in 2026. I feel like it's coming out in 2026. Female coach, secret relationship, coach and player, age gap. I have no idea who this is about. I genuinely have no idea who this character could be. Also, I, at this point, don't think we've been introduced to a female coach. So this could get interesting. Now, book 7, also untitled. I do know who this one is about. This one is about Ethan, who is a player on the team. Mans is always talking about his bike. He's like, oh, I've got a new woman in my life. And they're like, really, who? And he's like, it's his bike. It's his motorcycle. I love a slutty motorcycle riding boy. I recently have accidentally become a member of Bike Talk or whatever it is, like with like the motorcycle riders. Like, I didn't mean to, but I'm not mad at it. Okay, especially when they wear the helmet. So this is Ethan's book. Get ready, get ready, get ready. Accidental pregnancy. One night stand, Sunshine and Sunshine. No Grumpy Sunshine. Sunshine, Sunshine. And Equipment Manager. Now, I also don't know what the equipment manager they're talking about is because I haven't been introduced to them yet. So I think over the next couple of books, we'll see. Probably like through Sinbin, we'll see. And I am ready. All of these are like workplace romance except for Sinbin. And I like that. It's finding new avenues to like make niche relationships. And as all these, like, it's not just like marketing or PR or blah, blah, blah. It's like equipment manager, coach. Like, thanks. Yeah, thanks. I want to read it. Thanks, I do. I can't wait. I can't wait. These. So, a lot of fun things coming up, guys. Keep an eye out for that on the Instagram, Books and Cats Official. And then also subscribe. We are Books and Cats Official, no spaces. That's the full name. If you search that into YouTube, you will find us. Otherwise, subscribe and you'll get some notifications when the new episodes come out. I am so excited to chat with you guys about some more books. We've got some really cool things lined up. So stay tuned. Once again, I am Samantha, and this is Books and Cats and Books and Cats and Books and Cats and Books and Cats. And this is Chelsea Curto's DC Stars series.